make out.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. So we saw a video that went viral about, from an interview that was conducted by QED. Patrick Dorr was being interviewed and he was talking about a little bit about his marriage.
Former marriage.
His
former marriage.
His former marriage, sorry. He's remarried, divorced. And he was talking about how she's a good woman. She was a fantastic provider, but things didn't work out. They have a good social media relationship. We don't really want to dig into what happened in their marriage. It's really not our concern. But we want to talk about, fun enough, drawing from personal experience. Yesterday as well, I met a friend of mine, a medical doctor. And I was like, how's your wife? How are your children? And he was saying, oh, we've been separated for 3 years now. I'm like, what happened? We just couldn't make it work. I came back home and she wasn't in the house. And now we have joint custody. I've been with the kids have been with him for a month now, and they'll spend the second month of the holiday with their mom. And they're like, well, okay, everybody's fine. I'm like, is everybody really fine? So apparently you can have a relationship with two people that are good, seemingly, but together it is not working. And we're going to discuss it to see how to make the necessary compromise. What can be the issues that would make two good people fall in love, get married, and then decide at a point that is not working, and see how we can draw lessons that can help people watching who are probably going through this or are two good people about to get married and probably would not work out as well. So you can join the conversation with your own opinion by calling us on 0810-764-1679 or 090-241-63440. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. We'd love to hear from you or read your comments on YouTube. So here we are. When I go back home and I was gisting my husband, he was like, well, the thing is nowadays there's a lot of divorce is now, it's not a strange thing anymore. Maybe 10, 20 years ago, people can look at it and say, what happened? But it's not strange. If it's not working and we can't find a way to make it work, then there's no problem. But I just felt very uncomfortable because I know the parties involved and it just felt really weird because I see them as good people. So, Nima, why would two good people, and I know you find yourself in situations where by career path, you are having to intervene on behalf of one or two or the others, but in your cases, I'm always hearing one bad person or the other bad person, but have you seen where two people that they are good still couldn't find a way to make it work in a relationship? Okay, so there are several things that cause, distance, or what would I call it, in marriage, several issues, and it could be two good people, but these issues are so insurmountable, they cannot solve them. One of them is the in-laws and some trauma. So this person is good, but the trauma is something the person can't immediately drop. Or maybe when you're with that person, he's not healing. You're a good person, he sees you, but if you continue to stay with the person, you just might overwhelm yourself. And after a while, things will just go from bad to worse. So you maybe step out of the situation, allow the person heal, and then maybe, if it's possible, come back. But if it's not, everybody moves on. So we've seen several like that. Those are some of the best for me, where both parties are willing to just, settle this matter. Can we do it so fast so that, she has a good life, where they are good people. But, the majority of what I see is what you explained. But this is possible, where there was one, the mom was so much involved in the marriage. She wanted decision A, decision B taken. She would not stop. She continued to control the situation of the marriage. She wouldn't stop. And the young girl just kept trying to talk to the guy. You need to do this for me. You need to talk to... And he says, I can't. She's my mom. Her place is special. And you have to learn to live with it. But it was killing the girl. And so she had to go. If you ask the mom, she must not be in my son's life. But the guy was just like, he's just in a place where no matter what he does in his life, his mom must be pleased. And so no matter who is affected. And so can a person be a good person but have a... Okay, everybody has... No, if you ask me, he was a good man to her, a good husband. When it comes to being her husband. But he didn't want to be a bad son, and that's different. Parents refused... She, in her case, refused to grow into that new position of, this is my son's life. She was in his life. She will come in, take her child, accost her and say, you did not bring child from your house. Maybe she said, no, this is how we do it in our in-laws' house. This is what must be done. even though it was affecting the girl, she was like, why can't she not be civil? Why can't she be, you know, you need to tell your mom, Drew, put the boundaries in. He didn't know how.
It was too good to everybody, and it could not be bad.
Yeah, you know, these things, some tough decisions will be taken. Some people will be hurt. Sometimes it's not always better to hurt only the wife. Let her and tell her to deal with it. It's they are my family, they cannot do any wrong. When your family are the ones at fault, as a man, you must also be able to step in. And so when it wasn't working, she left for her parents' house. He came, they tried to resolve, but he just couldn't. Because anytime he comes in, this is one sacrifice she has to make. Even when she took over her accommodation, it's one sacrifice that she needed to make for him.
We'll still come back to that side in terms of necessary sacrifices. Maybe sometimes good people might break up because one person isn't willing to make the sacrifice. But have you had any scenario, read anything that where two good people, for one reason or the other, were unable to make it work?
Yeah, so good people, at some point, I think sometimes compatibility. At some point, they are not compatible and, you know, maybe differences in values, you know, people coming from different cultures too also affect those kind of things. So sometimes, I used to know someone that there are some women that both parties, sometimes they don't fight for their marriage as much as possible when issues start coming. Because there's no marriage that does not have issues. Once issues start coming, the ability and, you know, the way we handle them matters a lot. I know someone, there was a time we're having an argument with somebody and she said once her husband cheats, that's her own deal breaker and she's going to leave. And I was like,
when it comes to cheating, can you say a cheating man is a good man?
Yeah. Well, what if it was what if it's a mistake that you're unable to forgive? So, you know, a lot of people feel that maybe when you're in marriage, mistakes don't happen, people don't have bad habits, you know, and I always say that, for me, I see it also like, you know, with our parents. We are their children, they love us, you know, we love them, but we have done a lot of things, you know, that some parents, if they could, they would have put us up for sale, not even adoption, you know. But as a parent, it's already in you to forgive. You forgive ahead because, you know, you're trying to build, but with a spouse, it's harder. You know, because you're expecting that this person should know better, this person is a full adult. So those are the sort of things that may come in between good people. You find someone who has done something wrong in a marriage, truly sorry, has always been good, but this was a mistake. And the other person truly loves him or her, but is unable to forgive that mistake, recognizes that she's a fantastic wife, she's an amazing mother, she's such a career-driven person, ambitious, she's everything I've always wanted, but I cannot forgive this mistake. That can happen. Why two good people would leave each other. Then I think one for me, which I feel is major, is that after a while, there's this complacency that can set in marriages, where you see finish, I know you, you know me, and, you know, I saw one meme somewhere recently where someone was making jokes about some things that was happening in the house. You know, like the wife said this, the wife said that. Then someone under the comment says, and tomorrow when she's asked for divorce, you'll be asking, where did it come from? Meanwhile, you're joking about things that she's pointing out to you that is a problem. Or the man is pointing out some things to you that is a problem. And you're laughing, I don't mind this, my husband. Every time I drop my towel on the floor, you'll be complaining. I beg, I beg, I beg, you know? Meanwhile, it is eating him up, and you know, and it's telling.
So I wrote it down on that reoccurring mistakes, simple reoccurring mistakes.
Just even commit.
Just get on your nerve.
Just even have that, you know, commitment to just spice up the relationship a little bit. So, because my husband is hardly ever around, you know, when he comes back, I really try to, you know, go out of my way to make sure that when he comes back, things are put in place, the house. My daughter asked me, she says, Mom, why always trying, I'm trying to look for the words, why always trying to, is it impress Dad or something? There was something that she said, like I always go out of my way from, I said, well, because it's out of town, so I want to go out of my way to make it. You know, at first, a part of me felt, you know, the feminist part was like, it's true, where am I going? And I thought it's a good thing to teach her. Yeah. I said, he deserves it. He does so much for us and da-da-da-da. In my own little way, this is something I can. But many times we make the mistake where we take each other for granted. See, I've said it here before. My husband would, you know, do a lot of things, but when he asks me to get something for him, I'm always forgetting to do it. Please, can you quickly pick this up for me on your way back in the most convenient? I will forget to do it. You know, one day he called me, I was like, why is it that when I ask you, in fact, even plans that I will forget it so that I can do it. And I told myself, I said, no, this is not right. Yeah. I mean, someone that would go out of their way for you, just this, you know, not something that will inconvenience you, but because you have seen the person finish, hey, you understand, whatever. So I think those are the reasons sometimes that two good people who are decent, who are kind, who respect each other, sometimes don't stay.
So I have seen my marriage where when I stand my ground, that thing always irks my husband sometimes. When I decide to stand my ground on something, he'll be like, Nima is such a good person. Until... That's how he starts the conversation. Say, I know my wife, she's a good person. She's stubborn. Anytime I do that thing, and I'll be like, I'm a good person. Okay, this thing I want, do it now. This thing that I want now, do it. You know,
so that we can go back to the good
side. So that we can go back. If I'm a good person, don't stress me for that.
Give you issues.
Every time we have that argument and it involves someone, you say, my wife, she's such a good person. But this thing, she's stubborn. I'll be like, so why you, it's like you're testing me.
You know? I love the conversation we're having, but you want to say something? Let me hear
from because you. As I was talking, Miriam interjected at some point.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were doing sorry.
Yeah, so the lady in question I was talking about that said she couldn't forgive her husband because he cheated. She tried, she tried her best to see if she could forgive, but the thing kept on, playing in her head and all that. So at the end of the day, one day she just got up and she left the marriage. She's a good person and the guy also a good guy, but he tried his best. He made sure that he stopped, he always makes sure that, okay, what he started doing was that anytime he's going out, he tells her, wherever he is, he takes pictures, everything, just to make everything right.
Make evidence.
She couldn't just forgive him. So there are times like that when, it just comes from his spouse that she can't just forgive. So those kind of things happen.
In therapy. Because really,
a lot of marriages,
therapy might help.
Yes,
but we've uncovered
you've also made up your mind.
Yes,
yeah,
so for some people, it's for this in this case, it might just be like if she's a very visual person, and every time she sees her husband, she's visualizing the cheating scenario. Yes. Or it might be if it happens whichever way, because we've heard stories of women with full chest cheating. And the men forgave, and some could not forgive because every time you now see that person, instead of being reminded of the good in them, you are reminded of that weakness in them, and you're seeing it every time. So even though they are making efforts to say that I've moved on from this thing, the visual remains in the person's mind. But we haven't mentioned another, because I'm making a list of other things that can, religious differences. Not necessarily two different religions. I've heard they are both Christians, but they are in two different denominations of Christianity, and they couldn't make it work because each person is expecting something from the other person. One was expecting, you should join me. You know I was very faithful in this church before you married me. And we already discussed it. You said you would join. But when the other person was of the opinion that when I entered into the church, I realized that this is not church, this is cult. Or like something different. Like, this is not the way I know Christianity. This is not the way I was brought up. The things they're asking you to do, I don't understand. Case in point, white garments, Pentecostalism. I don't understand. Why are you carrying candle? Why are we going to what's all this one about? They are unable to make it work. Or even now, Christianity and Muslim or traditionalist and all of that.
So for me, I'd put it under growing apart or growing away from each other. So you have some people, so we're not even talking different religions, we're talking the same religion, the same denomination. But maybe at the time that you met...
let me just take Abiola from the corridor. Abiola has called into the show. Welcome, good morning.
Yes, good morning, my dear sister.
Good morning.
I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. You see, there are two, on what you are discussing, there are two major problems that good couples normally face and that eventually leads to their separation. One is internal and the other is external. Let me first of all deal with the external. When mature couples marry, let the parents of each of these members of this marriage steer clear of that marriage. Their relationship should be advisory. It should be for intervention and not for interference. There's a difference between the two. And when you see some parents going in to tell their sons that, look, this woman is not good for my son. And the husband is weak to tell the mother, Mama, you have had your own marriage. Let me enjoy my own marriage. Then there will be that problem. Because that good woman will feel that she's being treated like a slave. Yeah. And she will eventually depart. So also, not only the parents it also happens even from the parents of the wife too. They will say your husband does not do this, does not do that, and you are thereby informing your daughter that the husband is not good for her. And they normally lead to separation, though they are good. Even as I'm talking, I'm a victim of such a thing in my family. I told my mother point blank, Mama, you have had your own marriage. You divorced my father when I was 2 years old. And you now want to interfere in my own. Steer clear. Until she died, we were never in good books. And today, me and my wife are still together. That is one part, the external reason why good couples normally can separate. The second one is internal. And this internal is what I want to just advise you people on the social media. The way we always advise women that in moments you have a kind of deal breaker or whatever, and somebody does this, you have crossed the line, then you should depart. Most women do not have the stomach to think at the other side of the effect. They will feel that, maybe these are my colleagues, these are my sex colleagues, and they have said, they have experienced this, that if my husband should do anything like this, I think I'm out. You don't, marriage is not, it's not a magic, it's not a linear graph that you can say it's a straight line.
Thank you so much, Abiola. You were saying something.
Yes, I was saying that cases where people can grow apart also spiritually. So this is not even different religion, is that maybe someone becomes even more
committed.
Spiritually, has grown, more spiritually, and another person had, either slacked a bit. Or when we met, we're both in church and very prayerful. The church was where we stayed, or, everything concerning our religion, we did it perfectly. Then as life happened, someone, decided that, I don't think I need to be that involved, or I don't think I need to be that serious about it. That shows that, there's a change in almost values. You've sort of grown apart. I've seen people also where, at the time that they met, mentally, Intellectually, they were the same. They were okay. And then someone has taken their time, either because of work or whatever, put the time in to build themselves, to grow themselves. The other person, maybe not through any fault of theirs, decided, okay, while you do this, I'm behind, just making sure I'm keeping the house safe, everything is going well. And then you find yourself 10, 20 years later, and you're two different people. So those are the sort of things. So I don't have anything against him. He's perfect. I don't have anything against her, but we just don't even think alike anymore. We don't even see life the same anymore. So those sort of things that happen. But I think the major one, which is for me, I see recurring all the time, is money. When
growing apart financially.
Financially, if we don't have, when money becomes an issue, good people can, if that thing takes over, good people can divorce.
And a good person not be able to handle money issues.
Yes, a good person may not be financially savvy, may not be financially literate. Okay. A good person may not be able to understand how, when we had so much, this and this was what we did, this was our lifestyle, all of a sudden, I can't afford to do this. And this is important to me. Oh, this was how I was raised. This is how my family was raised. All of a sudden, you're saying we can't afford to do this anymore. Many people struggle with that. So it's not like she's a bad person or he's a bad person. I can't do this anymore.
Or the person is so good, they give away all the money. You marry somebody that is so good. He's such a generous person.
I gave it all.
That every time there is money in the house, they will dash everybody finish. So it is the generosity and the goodness that is now causing issue within the marriage.
So I have several examples. As Miriam was talking,
I was dropping into stories.
Especially of this money one. So this couple had married, they had an open book relationship about money. I have 10 kobo, you have 20 kobo, we put it together, we have 50 kobo, we do this, everything. That was their initial stand. And then advice third parties started coming. And one day they had a fight. And the spouse said to the other one, my father had told me, if you keep your money open to a woman, you're a stupid person. And the woman was like, so my own that is open. Me, I don't have father, you understand? And this person would not take it back. The other person would, and it became a rule of, you know, my money. I kept saying, okay, see, this is not really complicated. To the woman that, you know, you can just, you to just start the method. They have set a new graph. I even gave examples of when me tried to do it. She just kept looking at me strangely. She just felt violated. She felt that's not the rule. Is he saying, am I here to steal his money? Is that what we've been doing? Does he not have any trust? Just one couple fight and everything wanted to scatter, you know? And I think he, on his part, no matter what you say to him, he kept emphasizing, repeating what one person who has lived his life and even passed.
That's also under, like the caller said, external influence. Let me take Oladipo, I'll come to you. Oladipo has called in from Ikorodu. Welcome to the show. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Yeah. So, from my own perspective, when you are discussing this issue this morning, I discover many things. The reason why we have many broken homes and all the single mothers outside nowadays, or single father. Number one, I discovered, you may not take it, but from my own personal research, a friend of mine, and even my brother, he said he would never marry a working class woman. If you look at it very well, you discover that those divorcee that we have, those ones that, okay, they are no more in their husband's house again. You discover that most of them, they are working class people. Because you can't see somebody that maybe is under, don't let me use the adjective of under the husband. Somebody that is still a kind of, maybe is the husband that is giving the food, making as in everything. He's the one preparing everything for him. It's always a little bit difficult for that thing to happen. But when it comes to maybe you two, I'm getting salary at the end of the month, even sometimes you discover that even the wife is even receiving more than the husband. Before you know, the person will grow the wings and there will be shoulder pad. You will go and get shoulder pad from fashion designer. And before you know, things will somehow turn. And so I observed that. That's my own major point.
No, Oladipo, you have dropped a bomb. And it's a bomb that everybody here would feel like addressing, because what you've just said is the reason many die in marriages because they don't have financial empowerment. But you're taking it from the angle of the financial empowerment gives the woman liberty to live without addressing the other issue, the crucial issues that made her want to live. Because what he's saying is statistically, he's saying that statistically, women who are working are more willing to leave. But the issue, you're not addressing why did they even want to leave?
What kind of person
because the fact that they are financially stable does not mean they want to leave if there is no issue that was not addressed. And we need to go on a break. Meanwhile, when we come back, it is Ramatu that is going to take it up. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Your statement.
Yeah, and she even paused. I did not enter immediately. You paused. You didn't say anything. That's why I entered. I did not interrupt you. Sorry. Thank you.
I knew you were going to address it. I was 100% sure you were going to address it. But this scholar, saying this kind of thing in 2024, is the reason this topic is not oversaid. We have not overflogged this topic.
Well, you see this Doyle, just because you don't want to put it in context, it meant that a lot of times she had to provide for her.
Yes. Yeah.
Obviously.
She had to carry her home. She had to
he said that she was a provider. For
yes,
for a man to say it.
Permit the English, she had to man up.
She had to, because...
So, which justification will you go outside?
How much money
would they have made at that time? Not even now.
No, and you know, she went on. She was
endorsement. She was doing TV show.
Yeah, you were seeing more
she was hustling.
She was hustling. She had to provide because
she had to become the super provider. But he not even say provider. They commented on that thing heavily.
That was a red flag for me.
It was. She said she was a first class. Should your wife or husband be first class father or first class mother? No. Okay. I get that. Okay. 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 We need to address. All right, welcome back and thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing, can good men and good women in a marriage break up, even as good people? And our last caller dropped a bomb that everybody is itching to. I even want to dig in a bit more, but Ramatu has been waiting for a while, so we're going to hear from Ramatu.
Okay, so I want to answer the caller. First of all, when a woman works, she's supposed to be a helper to her husband. Sometimes for unforeseen circumstances, sometimes you don't know what can happen to the husband. He can lose his job, death, anything can happen, and the woman can pick up from there. So I don't believe where you said that once a woman starts working, she starts to, you know, he can't marry a woman that works. If he does not marry a woman that works, it's a big problem to him later in life, because you can't tell what the future holds. That's my own, yes. So my understanding is this, lack of communication is a major factor. Like what Nima said, if there was communication on finances at the beginning part of the marriage, you talked about your finances, you talk about how you handle each other's moods. Okay, when I'm angry, what do we do? Or how do we resolve issues, especially conflicts? Because conflicts, they are inevitable in marriage, no matter what you do. And at some point, sometimes in marriage, you just want to take that break. I don't know if it happens to you. You just want to be like, let me just 1 month or 2 months, let me just be away.
It's
a lot, but let me just be away, because there are some kinds of, at some point in marriage,
is it
maybe
like
physically
5 years away, or what do you mean?
Yeah, not physically. They just, maybe you people are in the house, but you give each other that distance and everything, you know. People will come back, talk about things, conflicts, resolving conflicts is always a problem in marriage. So communication, when you communicate, when you tell each other how to handle stuff, when there's an issue that comes up, sit down, talk about it. One is listening. Recently, I learned how to listen. Before, if my husband is talking, I am talking. So at the end of the day, we started building, you know, resentments, and we got our issues were never resolved.
Yeah.
So at some point, I had to learn how to listen. So when he's talking, I listen. I just listen to him, and I don't respond. And I give myself time. I tell myself that I can give myself 2 days, 3 days. I don't have to respond immediately. I can tell him, oh, okay, I've heard you. I'll respond, but maybe not now. Because maybe at that point in time, if I respond, I may not like what I have said or something. So I'll wait. Sometimes I'll wait 2 days.
Intelligence.
Yes, so I'll wait 2 days, 3 days. And sometimes after waiting, I'll just
there's
feel
no
like there's no need. What he has said is, you know, makes sense.
As in, what you just said is so powerful. While I want Nima to respond to Oladipupo, not necessarily respond, just giving a bit more perspective to what Oladipupo said, I feel like what you've just discussed can be the solution to many good people right now watching this show and at the brink of breaking up. Because when we don't communicate properly, many people view communication as listen to me, not like
you understand me.
You understand what I'm saying.
You need to take time to understanding your person, understanding the situation, not being in a hurry to respond. We learned that from RDJ. RDJ was like, sometimes on this show, you're not actually listening. No? You are just preparing your response. You are, as the person is talking, you are meditating, you are conjoining your own response to the person without actually taking time to analyze what did the person say, how did the person feel. It might not be your intention. So that communication is something that needs to be worked on extensively, not even in the beginning. It's a constant journey throughout a successful marriage. Any successful marriage is a marriage that constantly communicates and listen and edify one another. I also like when she said that you wait, and then you might realize there was really no issue to discuss. But you were going to talk about...
Okay, so the caller had said that empowered women, that's what I hear, that working women were the most quick to divorce. And I think he's missing the fact that an empowered woman willing to stay in marriage is the most beautiful thing. So you have the means to fly out of the marriage, but you're so in love.
I'm happy.
You come in empowered, you're so in love with the person that no matter what you have, it doesn't matter. You want to stay with the person. That's where most of our people here miss it, men miss it. because you want to bring a weaker person who has no means of going, but you believe she's in love because she's staying. Maybe she's putting up. Then when the tables turn in your old age, you start to see the woman, because when tables turn, a weak woman who must have suffered and put up with all your excesses,
she will give you back. She
will definitely serve you back. And that time, the people who were your caregivers, or not, who were your caregivers, will now no longer be there. Yeah. They would have left the room in your stadium where they were telling you, you're the man, you're the man. They would have emptied the place, and you'll be left alone with that woman. I always say it, when an empowered woman is willing to make her marriage work, staying despite the means to work out every time. That's the most beautiful thing
for a man.
So your search should be an empowered woman who wants to marry you for who you are and stay with you.
Not the one that has no choice.
Not the one that has no choice. The one that her father house she cannot go, her mother house she cannot go, her uncle house she cannot go. She has no place to go, but stay with you and put up with whatever. And you're not really sure whether she's in love, whether you're a good man with her, whether you're earning her love, whether the marriage is still sustainable, whether she's just saying, oh, I don't go, manager. You don't know whether that's what she's putting up with.
Thank you so much for that perspective. Please. Let's take Olorunfemi. We seem to be having a lot of callers from Ikorodu. Welcome to the show, Olorunfemi.
That's all good for that side.
Welcome, I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
I just want to quickly say something about what the last caller said. If that is what is in the mind of men, they should better remain single. What the eyes of women that are not working are saying in marriage is something else. It is hell. So it's better for a woman to work. A working class woman that knows, her rights in the house will never take shit that those people that are not working are taking. I'm telling you, it's a bitter truth.
Yeah, thank you so much, Olorunfemi.
They said, he said, people that are working, they are those that are, most of them are single. They are not in their marriage. Do you know what it takes to be under a toxic marriage when you don't even have work?
It complicates things a bit more. This is, like I said, that Oladapo dropped a bomb. But the thing is, the bomb he dropped is a reflection, and it's a conversation that has been had in many beer parlor conversation within men. It's like a norm that the more empowered your woman is, the
more likely she would be.
So it brings the question: does financial empowerment embolden a woman in marriage?
Anybody, even the man, he emboldens him. But you know what? For me, I've been thinking a lot about, because this conversation is not new. But I'm thinking maybe women need to read. Maybe we need to sit and hear what these men are saying. And maybe we need to understand what this marriage really, how it was designed for. And then we realize which one we're picking. Because, when you go through the time, even in, ancient times or whatever, time past, the marriage was to be done by the Lord husband, who has the money, has the strength, has everything, and then he marries you almost as a favor, either to you directly or to your family or your community or your country, So that is what I feel in our DNA has been passed to us. The man is supposed to marry to take care of the woman. In situations where we would hear stories of olden times where the woman was strong and she had her own wealth, there was also a way she had to act so that it was not in his face or make him feel less than himself. So that's what I feel a lot of men have. But now we're living in modern times. A lot of things have changed. And women are also becoming so empowered and doing a lot of things for themselves. And I think that men are finding it difficult to come from where they have always known and where they are coming from to the realities today. And for a woman, and then for us too, when we talk about marriages, maybe we should understand that, in the original sense of it, is the man taking care of you. So if you're the one taking care of a man, or if you're bigger than the man or more empowered than the man, maybe that's why women like that always look for a man that can do more than you can. Do you understand? Because you find very successful women and they say, I just want to be taken care of. But madam, you are taking care of yourself and so many people, but a woman will still want a man that can take care of her. Yeah. So maybe we're also being hypocritical in the sense that even us, we want a man that can be the leader in some way with either money or something or career, you know. So it's important that we hear what they're saying, and then let us also understand that there's
understand the historical precedent.
Yes, so it gives us
context about this belief.
But then also remember we're in 2024, and there's some differences, and you know.
Yeah. Understanding historical precedents and understanding the reality of modern times. We'll take Prince Bello calling from Abuja. Prince Bello, welcome to the show.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning. Happy to be on the platform today. I'm not a first-time caller.
But you are still welcome to the show.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. On my contribution is all the contributors on this particular topic, everybody are making sense, but at the same time, it's caution, because the purpose of bringing the topic is for us to learn, for Nigerian, for viewers to learn. Most especially, one important support I want to make to the contributors, that woman, Nea Nema. In short, if for those who listen to her very well, I believe she has made a very good point, in the sense that she made her personal reference, and that her personal reference is a very good language experience for a lot of women to learn, because she may say that sometimes when her husband is talking, she also is talking. When he's doing with that, so alone is very good in women in marriage. But that solution she prefer is very good for women to pick from that solution she provide. That at a later stage she understands that when my husband is talking, I should not reply immediately, and that thing also affects men. It irritates men and will make men sometimes to go beyond boundaries sometimes. So let those who listen to her to really pick from that experience. I won't say more than that. God bless everybody.
Bello, don't you think it is also vice versa? Is it not also okay for the man to also listen to the woman and also wait sometimes and think, so that his response, he might just realize he doesn't need to respond, that what she said is valid?
Because that kind of husband is a fantastic husband.
Okay, I agree with that. Let me say as a marriage, because yes, it's vice versa. Sometimes men should also learn not to be always say, I am the owner of the house, I am the overall. No, I agree with that, because if both parties, sometimes what that woman said she took, there are some women that may find it difficult to do it. So even the husband also can look at, okay, if this my wife could refuse to understand me, let me also take another dimension. It is very correct, because we need to learn the part. Anything that can make the marriage to last is what's important. Don't forget about whatever is happening in your nuclear house is limited to you and your wife. Forget about somebody will tell you outside that if your wife say no, you must say yes. Your wife must obey you. If you believe that this is your wife, this is the type of wife you marry. But if you calm down a little, does not mean say you calm down to her or you listen to your wife, does not mean that you don't take action or you don't have action. But what?
Thank you so much, Prince Bello, for
I thought it was
balancing that it should be balanced.
Yes.
Thank you so much. We'll take a quick break now. When we return, we'll dig further into the conversation, especially because we realize that this financial empowerment thing can be a major stumbling block in two good people building a successful home together. We'll dig into it further. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.